games. It's ScrubGames. Double up. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames.
How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and today we are back with our Understanding How to Build series. And if you are new and haven't seen this series before, this is basically a series where I go over all the leaders in a given set to help you understand how to build them to suit you and your playstyle. So if you're someone brand new who's looking into the game after getting in set 4, then this could help you understand how to build any of the leaders you might be interested in or want to have fun with. And there's 18 leaders we go over, and this is the first one. Starting off with blue, we like to go in order of the aspects, going to the blue, green, red, and yellow, and then we do the start deck ones after that. So the show will hopefully have 4 out each week, and this week's going to cover all the blue leaders. And for this one, we are going to understand how to build Asajj Ventress. If you're interested, stay tuned, and let's check it out. So we're going to start off with the leader, like we do in the series, because why build a deck around a certain leader? And that's because the leader is the focal point of most decks. Basically, when you build a deck, you focus on a certain leader because of what it does, what it provides, as well as the aspects. And as Star Wars Unlimited is a leader-based game, you kind of need one to play. So here we go over Asajj Ventress. So Asajj is a pretty interesting one. Deploys quite light at 6 resources, and also rocking the new Epic Action Deploy, where she can deploy either as a leader in the ground arena, or she can deploy as a upgrade on a vehicle without a pilot on it. And if she deploys as a ground unit, she comes down as a 4/6, 6 resources with the keyword grit, meaning the more damage she takes, the more powerful it gets, because for every damage on her, she gives an extra power for that damage. And if you do go ahead and deploy her as a pilot, which is a pretty cool mechanic, on a vehicle, she comes down as a 3/4 upgrade boost on that unit, so it increases by 3 power and 4 health, and provides them with a, well, now makes them a leader unit, also gives them grit as well, so either way when she deploys, it's coming down grit. And she gives them an on attack where you can deal 1 damage to a friendly unit, and if you do, you deal 1 damage to an enemy unit in the same arena. So that's pretty cool, pretty nice effect, and that effect is the same on the leader area, where instead of on attack, it's an action. By tapping her, she can deal 1 damage to a friendly unit, and if you do, deal 1 damage to an enemy unit in the same arena. So that's basically what she does, and she gives you the aspects of Vigilance being blue and Villainy being black. So those aspects she gives you at the 3 you can get, because combined with a base, you get 3 aspects. And she also provides the traits of Force, Knight, Bounty Hunter, and Pilot. So Pilot's just a trait that all the pilots have, that one that can deploy on her vehicle. Knight is I think a new one. We haven't seen Knight before. I think we might have seen it on, trying to think of his name now. Savage, that's it, Savage. He's got the trait, but there's no much use for it. Whereas Force does have support for it. Not too much in the dark side, at least. And then you got Bounty Hunter, which does have support among quite a few different colors, mainly yellow. So that's what she provides. And do remember that traits, when she's an upgrade on a unit, do not pass over. So while she'll have the traits, and those traits will only be relevant if she deploys as a leader unit in the ground arena. If she goes on an upgrade, she will not provide those traits. So basically, that is what she does. She's one of the rare leaders as well. Well, she's the rare leader for the dark side of blue. And she's pretty nice because she does some little bits of damage, and also grit means you can kind of turn that damage into more power, which is cool. And deploying quite late is not the best, but it's not too late compared to some of them that deploy at 7. Also, do remember that since set 2, every single leader gets a showcase. I think every leader in the game now does have a showcase, because Luke and Vader will be getting one. And this is Asajj's showcase. It looks pretty nice. I'd say it's one of the better showcases from the set. Sometimes the showcases are a bit hit and miss. Sometimes they're amazing. Sometimes they're just a little bit lackluster. Like, I love the Yoda leader, but its showcase is pretty poor, in my opinion. But then again, that's how it is with art. Art is always subjective, so you either like it. If you like it, it's fair enough. If you don't like it, that's fair enough. It's all down to what you prefer, because if you prefer it, you're going to put using it. If you don't prefer it, you just move on. So that is the leader, and next we're going to go over some basic information. So what we like to do in this kind of series is give us basic information, so that way even if beginners are looking into it and reading and basically watching this, they have as much information as they can and as they want to get to help them build Asajj how they want. So if you're interested in, if you're brand new and looking for information, keep following, keep watching the video from here. If you are not a beginner, a brand new player, or you feel like you're a veteran and you don't need this kind of basic information, then feel free to check the description below where I've got timestamps to go to different sections of the video, so you can go there and skip to certain parts you want. But for now, we're going to go into basic information, so stay tuned. And also, because I forgot before, feel free to like, comment, subscribe as well to help me get to my goal of 2,000 subs. So let's have a look at the basic information. So for the first bit of basic information, we have the bases, because this is the ever vital piece of, well, vital piece you need to kind of play the game, because along with the leader, you need a base that you're protecting, and that takes damage in how you win or lose the game. Because there's only one way how to win or lose the game, and that is by taking enough damage that meets the health on your base. As you can see in the top left of the base, they have a health total there, actually HP or hit points or health points. I can't remember what it is for it. And in this game, there are two types of bases. There are like rare bases, which you can see on the left. These have varying levels of HP or health, because they can go either above 30 or under 30, and then have effects to compensate for that, or provide as a negative for having more health than normal. And then alongside that, you have common bases, which are all 30 health bases, which have no kind of difference other than their art and aspect, and normally a name and location. But we're going to go over each of these ones, so if you're interested in about the bases and what they kind of offer, let's go and have a look. So for the rare bases, we'll go over those first, because these are the ones, like I said, that have varying levels of health. They can either be lower than 30 health or higher than 30 health as of this set. And along with that, to kind of compensate for the less health, you've got some benefits that are like an effect that's beneficial. And if it's more health, you get an effect that's supposed to be negative, but sometimes isn't too bad. And so far, we've only got two bases that you can see on screen that have more health than normal, and we'll go over what they do. So we're 4 sets into the game, and we've had 3 lots of rare bases. We had a load in set 1, so the 4 we see on top there, they were set 1. They're the ones that have an epic action, meaning an action you can take like a deploy once a game, and then once it's done, it's done. But you got to use an action to use that. We didn't get any in set 2, so set 2 provided no rare bases. We got another lot in set 3, but these ones were more focused for the Twin Suns format, so they're more about deploying your leader or your leaders out and giving benefits there. And since in Twin Suns you can use 2 leaders, you can get 2 instances of it, and in a normal game you can only get 1 instance of it, so they're not as great to use. And normally they were capped before because they were the new rare bases, but now kind of drop them off for ever rare bases. That could be more useful. And then with this new set 4, and Asajj came in, we've got some more rare bases, and these are the ones that give us more health now, and they have effects that are around your opening hand and deck building size. So with the top 4, the rare bases from set 1, they have 25 health, all have an epic action that vary, like before in the beginning of the game. Energy Conversion Lab, the green one, was the most played base, and now Attack of Town is kind of taken over that, because it's just got a more useful effect at the moment compared to ECL. And for the ones from the new set, we've got these ones. We've got the 2 that have more health than normal, being Colossus and Data Vault, being the blue and green one. And they provide effects. So Colossus, it's negative for having 5 more health than normal, is that you open with 1 less card in your starting hand. So instead of opening with 6, you open with 5, which should be a negative, but sometimes isn't too bad. Because if you've got some cards and some decks that control to compensate for that, making it a very nice base. You've also got Data Vault here, which this is one that's got 3 more health, and to compensate for that, the negative you've got is it's got a deck building effect, which increases your minimum deck size by 10 more cards, meaning you've got 10 more cards in your deck if you're deck building, so that's what it provides. Then you've got Thermal Oscillator and what's it in the Bat Village, both being 3 less health, and they provide some pretty interesting effects, and they're more beneficial because they've got lower health. So Thermal Oscillator is also like Data Vault, a deck building kind of effect, where it makes the minimum deck size decrease by 5. So 3 more health, you increase your deck by 10, whereas for 3 less health, you minimize or you decrease your deck by 5. I mean, you need to have a 45 card deck minimum, which could be useful because deck thinning is usually deck winning, and the smaller your deck is, the more consistent it is to draw into what you want to get. And then we got in the Bat Village. Now this is another one just like Colossus that affects your opening hand, but with less health, means it's got more of a beneficial effect. And it's got 2 kind of effects. It's got the first one being that you draw 3 more cards in your starting hand, so instead of drawing 6, you draw 9, but you can't take a mulligan, so you get no mulligan, but you get to open with 9 cards. You don't get to keep those 9 cards because that would be insane, But when the first action phase starts, you need to put 3 cards on the bottom of your deck, well, from your hand on the bottom of your deck in any order you choose. So you can choose the order of them, but it just allows you to, you might be thinking, what the benefit of that? Well, you open with a 9-card hand, so you get more options of what you want to start off to have resourcing, and then even though you have mulligan, it makes it so if you've got you need to open with a certain amount of cards or a certain combo or certain things, it increases that by having 3 more cards open to you, so you've got a better chance of opening more consistently. So those rare bases all vary and different effects and stuff, so you got to decide if you feel the decrease or increase of health is worth the effect. If not, you can go for one of the common bases, or as I like to say, vanilla bases, which are just all 30 health bases in each aspect, and the only thing they differ by is art, aspect, name, and location. Now, where currently, as of set 4, there's no benefit to having a certain name or location on your base. So essentially with these ones, you just pick what aspect you're playing, you pick your favourite art in it, and you play that. Simple as. These are my favourite arts of them. You got the top one being the new Twin Suns deck box exclusives that are Hyperplace foil, and you got my favourites there from set 4 being the bottom ones. So as a basis, now let's get into a bit more of the basic information with something different now. So here we have the aspects, and in this game you have 6 aspects. You have the top 4 being the 4 colour ones, being Vigilance for blue, you got Command for green, you got Aggression for red, and also along with that you've got Cunning for yellow. Now these all have different play styles, and also you've got the Ever 2 as well, that are ones that are usually found alongside one of these Ever 4, so they're ones that are always on a leader or base, so you can either have a leader having the Villainy trait, being a dark side, or you can have the Heroism trait, being the light side. Now Asajj gets the Villainy trait because she's more of a villain from this era when her leader is, and these 2 aspects are either like the other ones on their own on cards, or they can be paired with the other aspects on them. So they make them a little bit more special, where you can't have, you can have those with the other ones, and have them on your own as well. Now each of these aspects has a certain way of play style, and we're going to go over that so you can kind of see which play style might suit you, so you can kind of see what you want to go. Because already we'll start off with the first one being Vigilance, which Asajj already has. So this is one that allows you to play defensively with the ability to heal damage, remove dangerous units from play, or protect your base from enemy attacks. You can do those kind of things. And this is perfect for anybody who likes a patient playstyle that can endure almost anything. So if that's what you're interested in, then good luck. That's good, because Asajj is already in that aspect. Now, with Command being the green one, this is more of a ramp aspect, because it allows you to accelerate your resources, and also call upon lots of units, or strengthen ones you already have in play. So it's all about ramping, playing out lots of things, or bulking up those ones you do have out. Now this is an aspect that's perfect for any player who wants to overwhelm their opponent with a massive board presence, or even just ramp up to play things a little bit quicker. And that's going to be handy for especially for leaders where they might deploy quite late, to get them out a little bit earlier, ramp them up, ramp your resources up so you can deploy them quicker. Next one we have is Aggression. Now, probably assuming that with the name Aggression it's an aggro color, and it kind of is in the light side at least. It's very aggressive in terms of its playstyle, and also with damage. It's a very damage focused aspect. Because what it wants to do is attack with maximum efficiency and dish out loads of damage, and is a perfect fit for anybody who likes fast-paced fire playstyles and likes to hurl damage at your opponent until they achieve victory, almost at any cost. So if you feel like aggression, like a very aggressive playstyle, like very aggro play, or you like just throw out damage and have damage control, then Aggression is a good one. Now we got the last one here being Cunning, and this is probably one of my favourite ones. And it's one that is like a jack of all trades, because it allows you to adapt to any situation on the fly with powerful and immediate effects, and also have lots of tools for disrupting your opponent's game plan. Now this is a perfect fit for any player who likes to respond quickly to threats, or even have answer to anything your opponent might throw at you. So if you like that kind of aspect, then Cunning is one for you. And remember, you can have, with a base, you can have all of these combined with Asajj to have a extra aspect, so you can even go double blue, or add the other ones to have that aspect access as well. And also do remember we do have Villainy and Heroism, so they kind of have different ways, because you've got Heroism, which feature the antagonists of the Star Wars series fighting for peace and justice, and this is one that is great for if you want to support and protect each other while pressing the attack. Unfortunately, it's not what Asajj is, but that's how the aspect is. And then you've got Villainy, which features the antagonists of the Star Wars series that like to battle for ultimate power, and is also like an aspect you're going to get with Asajj, and also wants to command huge armies or powerful destructive effects. So if you're interested in that, good, because Asajj has it. And like I said, these are both often paired with other aspects on other cards, as well as being on their own on cards as well. So those are the the 6 aspects, and another bit about the aspects as well is the aspect combos. Because like I said, when you combine a base with Asajj, you get these 4 options. So we're going to go over those later in the video, and before we're going to go over some basic information. But we will get into this at some point. So if you put a blue base with Asajj, you get double blue. Put it with a green, you get blue green. Put it with a red base, you get red blue red. And if you put it with a yellow base, you get blue yellow. And there are benefits to each one. Like I said, we've got the different aspects how they play, and also we'll see what the cards offer as well. But before we get into that, before we get into the last bit of basic information and then on to the aspect combos, we need to go over the aspect penalty, because this is something that's in the game. Because in this game, you can play any card in your deck. You can put any card you want in your deck. There's no restriction unless it's suspended, which currently is only a Boba Leader. So any card can go in your deck. But when it comes to actually playing the cards when you go to play a game, the aspect penalty comes in, because if a card has aspects that doesn't match what's on your leader and or base, you have to pay an extra 2 in addition to its card cost to play that card out. So we've got a nice little example here to show, like with a base combo, base leader combo, and little boxes to kind of show. So if you go to play a card and all the aspects, even if there's 1 or 2, match what's on your leader and base, you don't have to pay any additional cost. You just play for normal cost that is, and you play it out. So example here with the base leader combo is in the top box. But now if you want to play a card where one of the aspects out of the 1 or 2 on the card do not match what's on your leader and base, that's an additional 2 on top. So 2 cost card with 1 aspect not matching will cost you 4 instead of 2, so that's double the cost. And the second box is an example of that. Now if you want to play a card where it's got 2 aspects on and both those don't match what's on your leader and base, so the last examples being in the bottom box, you have to pay an additional 4 on top, so that's a huge 4 extra to play a card. So once again, if a card costs 2 and 2 aspects on it don't match, that's 6 for what would normally be a 2 cost card. Now if that's worth it, go ahead, but if it's not, maybe cut that out. But do remember that even though this aspect penalty comes into effect when you go to play cards, sometimes a card is that good for a certain deck leader or just in a meta that it's worth paying the extra resources to play that card out. Like for example, the double aspect events from set 1 are sometimes often played as a 6 cost rather than a 4 cost, because their effects are just that good. It's worth playing out of aspect technically to pay an extra 2 is still worth playing for it because the effects are so good. So do remember that even though an aspect penalty can come to effect, sometimes it's worth paying the extra cost to play that card, so do be aware of that. But that's the last bit of the aspect penalty. Next we're going to the last bit of basic information before we go and check out what she what she gets when you pair a base with Asajj. And that last bit of information is ratios, because in every card game you can have a certain amount of copies of each card, and for Star Wars Unlimited, 3 copies is that maximum. So you can have up to 1, 2, or 3 copies of a card. And I'm going to quickly go over what the benefits are, because sometimes it's kind of useful to kind of know, and not everybody kind of understands why you want some copy of cards. Some people most want to just put all 3 copies of everything in the deck, because then they got maximum amount of copies. But sometimes you want to have 1 copy of a card, and you might be wondering why. So starting off with the 3 copies, this is the ratio to help maximize the likelihood the desired card will be in your hand when needed. And I've got examples here that I've always put that are going to be same for the rest of the videos now, being cards you want to play on the first turn, or cards you want to see multiple copies over the course of the game. So like, you might want to put cards you want to play on the first turn of the game when you've got 2 resources. You might put them at 3, so you've got more likelihood of opening with a turn 1 play. And the example I always like to put now is Resupply, because it's a card that, if you're playing green, you're playing it because you want to ramp. And it's the premier kind of ramp card that you can put in every deck. Both light and dark side, even any other one as well that you can put in your deck, because it's essentially a 3 cost event that allows you to ramp. So as early as turn 2, play it out, increase your resources. Now, this card you always want to put, normally you always want to put it at 3, because you want to see it as soon as possible, so on turn 2 you can ramp and then start playing bigger things out quickly. Next, for the 2 copies of card, this is usually the ratio for cards that aren't great to draw early in the game, but you still want to go through multiple copies over the course of the game. So examples being are boss cards or high costing cards like Rebels 4 here, because there are removal events in this game, and usually the lower the cost the more restrictive, the higher the cost the less restrictive. And Rebels 4 is a nice one because it's quite unique, because it allows you to defeat any unit, and most of the time when there's cards that want to defeat a unit, they normally say non-leader unit or are a lot more restrictive. And Rebels 4 just defeats any unit, even a leader, mean, you can take out anything. Now, it does cost 6, so it's high costing, so if you're in the beginning game, you're not going to be able to play this until at least, if you're not ramping, your 5th turn, which is a lot of turns to wait, and sometimes you want to have it early to clog, but you want to have it later so you don't have to have it stuck in your hand or have to resource it. So you might want to play 2 copies of it, so that way you hopefully not see it early, and then see it later on the game when you want it. And that brings us to the one-off ratio. So this is usually the ratio for cards that are added to a deck specifically in order to counter a specific situation. So an example being the card Restock, added to card or added to decks that want to help counter hard control decks. And it could be even set choice as well. Like Restock is my main example because this is a card that usually is put in the decks to help counter hard control decks, or even hard control decks to counter mirror. Because in this game, like I said, you can only win by taking damage to your base equal to the amount of health you have on it. And if you can't draw any more cards, you take 3 damage for every card you can't draw. So if you can't draw 1, it's 3 damage. If you can't draw both cards, it's 6 damage. So hard control decks are usually trying to mill you out, so that way you can't draw and you start taking damage from that. So you have to worry about pushing damage. You need to keep control, and then the damage from not being able to draw will then win them the game. But Restock is a nice card that lets you choose 4 cards from your discard and put them on the bottom of your deck in random order. And you can choose Restock itself as one of those. So you can put itself back with 3 other cards, make it so you're never going to deck out cards, and then can avoid the damage, making that for hard control decks, they have to find a different way to kind of push that damage, so they can't rely on deck out damage for now. So hopefully that has helped you understand when you would want 3, 2, or 1 copies of a card. And now we've got the basic information out of the way, let's go ahead and check out what the benefits of each aspect combo provides. So, starting off with double aspect, I like to start with this one because this is one that, from the first set of the game, it was something that only one leader in each aspect could pull off, because back then we only had 3 double aspects, so you were essentially sacrificing a whole other aspect for access to 3 new cards, well, 3 cards specifically. And since we've got more sets, we've got more cards, and now we have from set 4, 10 double aspect cards. You're sacrificing a whole other aspect to have access to these 10 cards, and they are actually pretty powerful in every aspect. Some double aspects might be weaker than others, and some might be stronger, but that's down to what you prefer. It's like for set 4, we only got 1 double aspect card, so we had 3 in each of the first 3 sets. Set 4 only give us 1 double aspect card, so we've got 10 instead of what we would have hoped for 12, and these are the ones you got. So in the first set, you had Bendu, Protector, and Vigilance being nice cards, Bendu being a nice set Sentinel, Protector being a nice cheap way to give any unit Sentinel, and Vigilance being a nice card that basically gives you 4 options. Every aspect has one, named after the aspect itself. 4 cost of event gives you 4 options, you can choose any 2. And Vigilance is nice because it's got either mill 6, heal 5 from your base, defeat something that's got 3 or less HP, or even give a shield to units or something. So you can choose any 2 of those and resolve them how you want, and it's a very versatile card. Then in set 2, we got Sugi, Second Chance from Midnight Repairs, being nice cards. Sugi being one of those cards that can use the new mechanic of that set, being Smuggle, so you can play it out from the resources for a higher cost. And she's one that can become a Sentinel or something to upgrade on your opponent's board. Then you got Second Chance, being like a kind of Monster Reborn, where once equipped, if the unit is defeated, you can put this on any unit that's not a leader. Then for the phase, if it was defeated, you can play it from your discard for free. So it's kind of like a little backup Monster Reborn you can put on the unit. High costing, but cool. And you got Midnight Repairs being a cheap event that allows you to heal 8 damage among units on the board. So big costing, big healing card, but restrictive to double aspect. But you can always pay 4 for it if you want to play it out of aspect. Then we got set 3, and we got kind of disappointing ones. We got Finn and Duchess Champion being disappointing ones. Finn being not too bad for its stats, but the effect's not great. And Duchess Champion requiring your opponent to have 3 more cards on board to be a Sentinel, but even then at 1-8 for 4 is not great in terms of stats. And we got Equalize, probably the better one for those ones, being like a different version of Make an Opening, where it's a free cost event that allows you to -2/2 on a unit. But then if you control fewer units than the unit's controller, that you -2/2, then you get to give another unit -2/2 for the phase. It's a nice one against these Django decks, to -2 units by 2 health, which is normally going to take out some of them. And then for this set, we got Hondo Onaka, so this is a new one, a 4-cost 3/5 that comes in shielded. And on attack, it allows you to take control of a non-pilot upgrade on a unit attached to a different eligible unit. So you can start stealing upgrades, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty nice one, and one of the legendaries for it. We've got 3 legendaries for these, being Vigilance, Second Chance, and Hondo. So if you feel like double blue might be a good one for Asajj, go ahead and try it. And there's also some other cards you want to see, because you might be wondering what kind of Asajj provides in just blue and Villainy. Well, let's have to check that out. So for just for what Asajj provides you, she provides you with the blue and black trait. So you've got, like I said, the black trait that goes on the cards on itself, or is attached to one of the color traits. So you've got some Villainy blue cards, and you've got some pretty nice ones here that kind of go well with Asajj. You've got these two bases on, the two of the probably preferred rare bases if you want to go for them. And these are some like a sample of some of the units you can get. You can get some that make use of her effect to give damage using grit. So you've got Hydrobond Enforcer, Scout, Bike Pursuer, and Insect Ace, which all have the grit trait. So if they take damage, they get stronger. And even Interceptor Ace being a pilot, so it can go on a vehicle and also still provide that grit. So either way, it's coming down with grit. You also got Iden being another one, showcasing a new pilot skill. And when she's played as a unit or upgrade, she gives that unit or herself a shield to protect herself. Pretty nice. Then you got some nice space units like Inferno 4, Corvus, and First Light. Inferno 4 being a good turn 1 play. First Light giving all your units grit, and even making use of grit to power sync up by dealing damage as part of its smuggle. And then, yeah, all non-leader units getting grit to kind of make it so everything gets stronger with more damage. And you got Corvus be a nice one where when played, you can attach a friendly pilot unit or upgrade to this card. So you can kind of move a pilot card or an upgrade, pilot or upgrade to itself. So you can play out Iden. Then next turn, after she's lost a shield, play Corvus to put her back on, move her from where she is onto Corvus, and then give Corvus a shield. You also got some power effects like Power Dark Side as well, which are very destructive effects. Now in the non-dark side, you've got some pretty nice cards as well. Like you've got some with grit as well. So you've got like Royal Security Fighter and Wilshire Tree Tender, which you can use with Asajj to give damage to them and something in your opponent's same arena as that card to power them up while pinging damage to your opponent. You've got Outer Rim Outlaw as well, being a nice free unit with shield, so you can kind of have the shield take the damage, it's not damaged. And even some nice cards like Trace Martez being a nice one when you pilot it on a vehicle. When they attack, you can now heal damage, so you can heal the damage you do to your own units while damaging your opponent's units. Then you got nice upgrades and events, like you got Paris Vision being a very nice one. Upgrade that's the first one to minus stats. And then nice upgrades like Covert Strength, a nice one, be able to heal the damage off you put on units, and also then give experience to them. And this one you could smuggle. Then you got some nice removal events like Takedown and Rival's Fall. So you feel like you want to play with Asajj, that's some of the things that could be useful for it. Now let's have a look and see if you pair with a different aspect to Asajj, what you can kind of get with it. So for command, like I said, this is the one that wants a ramp or play out loads of things or big things quickly. So you got extra ramp along with resupply in Super Laser Technician, be a nice one because when it ramps it comes inactive, so you can use it straight away. Then you've got some nice cheaper units like Victor Leader you can put potentially deploy Asajj onto, which gives all ever friendly space vehicles extra 1/1. And you got Wingman Victor 3, which when it does play as an upgrade, it gives another unit or a different unit that's not the one it's on, an experience token, which is pretty cool. You've also got some nice vehicles in the ground as well, like Battle Pirate Tank and Separatist Super Tank, which are nice ones that go in the ground arena. Not often you see a vehicle in the ground arena. And these are ones that you can potentially deploy Asajj on, that just then make them stronger. Like she gives a 3/4 boost to whatever she pilots, so turning Pirate Tank from a 4/6 Sentinel to a 7/10 Sentinel, or Separatist Super Tank into basically just a big beat stick that is an 11/12, which is huge. Now, Separatist Super Tank does have one of the skills from set 3, being Exploit. I mean, you can make it play out for cheaper than 9 by killing off some of your units, and for every one you do, you can reduce it by 2, and you can exploit up to 3 units. Then you got the classics of Dark Vader and Maul being very good 7-cost units that come down ambush, so attack straight away, and then have some nice effects. And also Overwhelm Barrage being one of the best cards in the game, power sync up and throw its power as damage along the board. Now in the non-dark side of command, you've got some pretty nice ones. You've got a Clone Pilot as well, being a nice little pilot you can use to put on your vehicles. You've got Combat being a way to kind of keep something off board, because when it's defeated, look at the top 10 cards of your deck. Discard a card that's 2 costs or less, and then for that phase you can play it out for free from your discard. That's pretty nice to get keep something on board, which is cool. You also got Hu Yang being a nice one. You can kind of keep something in each arena, because if you play a space unit, you can then play Hu Yang to power up that space unit by 2/2, and as long as Hu Yang's on the board, it keeps that power boost. You also got some nice vehicles like Resupply Carrier being a never ramp card at 6 cost, and also a vehicle that you can deploy Asajj on. The same turn she can deploy, she can go on that. And even Reinforcement will be another one you can deploy on. That's basically both being vehicles. And Reinforcement 1 as well being a nice one where you can either heal or just draw more cards whenever it played or attacks. Then you also got some pretty nice events, like I said, got Resupply here as a way to ramp. You got Eject, making use of, interacting with the pilot mechanic, being able to detach a pilot and move it to the ground unit, and then if you do exhaust the, bring it out exhausted, and then draw a card, so a way to kind of knock off pilots either off your units or your opponent's units, and then get a draw out of it as well. Then you've got Timely Intervention as well, allowing you to play a unit, cost a bit more, because you've got to pay the event to do it, but then be able to play a unit as long as you pay the cost with Ambush, and you can either smuggle this or play it from your hand normally. So if that seems like quite nice things, like a nice sample of cards for command, that could be a way for you to play Asajj. Next we have Aggression. This could pair quite well with Asajj and her damage pinging, because you've got some nice units, like you've got Death Watch Loyalists having Grit, so you've got some units with Grit. You also got some nice cards like pilots that kind of benefit from damage as well, because you've got IG-8, where if opponent's unit is damaged, either if it's whatever it's piloting or if it's on board itself as a ground unit, it gains extra free power. So as long as your opponent's unit is damaged, it gets stronger. You got Darth Vader as well, where when it's attached as a pilot, when it attacks, you can deal damage to a unit, and if that damage defeats that unit, you can deal 1 more damage to either to a unit or a base. And it comes down as a 3 cost 3/3, like a nice lightsaber upgrade, or you can even play it on the ground as a 6 cost 7/7, which is pretty good stats for a cost. You also got some nice space units like Special Forces TIE Silencer, Von Reg's TIE Inceptor, or Raider. All have nice benefits like Special Forces. If you've got less space units when you play this than your opponent, then you get to restand it. Von Reg's just a nice one which can get the full effects of of the card when you deploy Asajj on it, and it's cheaper at 3 cost. And then Ruthless Raider would be a nice one where when it's defeated or played, does damage to 2 damage to your opponent's unit and 2 damage to their base, and is perfect cost because it's the same amount of resources you need to deploy Asajj. You can even put that on them to keep it around, and if they do eventually take it out, then they're going to take 2 damage to their base and a unit. Also do note that Asajj is a force unit, so if you do deploy it as a ground unit instead of on an upgrade on a vehicle, you can play things like Flawless Lightsaber on it to get the benefit of her being a force unit and a nice stat boost, being a 3/3 boost. And you've also got No Disintegrations being a new card that kind of pairs well with Asajj, because whereas you can deal damage to one of your units and one of your opponent's units, No Disintegrations for free allows you to deal damage to a non-leader unit equal to its health, 1 less than its remaining health. So basically you do damage to it until it's got 1 health left, and then you can use Asajj to kind of finish it off with that last little bit of damage. So it's a really nice card that could pair well with Asajj. Then in the non-dark side of aggression, you've got pretty cool things. You've got Stolen Land Speeder, which is a nice one. It's a vehicle, so you can kind of deploy Asajj on it, but it's one that, when played, you have to give it to your opponent. But then when you defeat it, you can claim the bounty to get it back, play it back from your discard for free, and then give an experience to it, making it 4/3 then. So it's nice when you can kind of use damage to ping on it. So you can essentially, if with a 2 1-cost units being one of these, you can play Stolen Land Speeder out, give it to your opponent, then play on another 1 cost in the same arena, never ground one, use Asajj to ping both of them, and the next turn you're either going to do the same thing, ping both of them, or run into it so you can get that land speeder back and stronger than before. You also got some pilots as well, like Determined Recruit. You got some nice, got a good round units, or some ramp in red as well, being Champ Sedula. If you're behind on resources because your opponent's ramped and you haven't, Cham can help you ramp permanently, and is a pretty solid unit in terms of stats. You also got some nice space units like Saving Fangfire and Droid Missile Platform, having nice benefits as well. Like Red also is kind of has the niche of being a upgrade hate, because you've got Saving Fangfire to hit upgrades off, and even System Shot being a hit knock upgrades off and then deal damage to them. Also another card, Force Throw, being a nice way to benefit from her force stats. If you deploy as a ground unit, use things like Force Throw to get full good benefits. And even Grim Resolve, making use of the damage she deals out to things, making it so you can attack with a non-lead unit and give it it gains grit for that attack. So it's got a lot of damage on it. You can swing from Grim Resolve, and it could be even stronger than like a Surprise Strike, which is nice. So if you feel like aggression and damage focus could go really well with Asajj's effect, aggression could be a nice one to kind of team up with her. Then we come to the last of the aspects, and it's Cunning. So Cunning's a pretty nice one. It's got some pretty nice stuff. Like you've got Bazine being a very nice like hand control, so you can play down, look your opponent's hand. If you want to, you can discard from your hand, and it just gives you hand knowledge and potentially rip out something you don't want to have. You've got some nice higher costing units like Bosk and Boba Fett. Bosk being a nice one that can ambush, and any time while it's on board you play an event, you can deal 2 damage to a unit. And then Boba Fett comes in shielded if you play it as ground unit, or can pilot on a unit and then deal damage. Basically, and then still a certain amount of damage, and even more if it's got a certain trait like transport. Then you got some good space units, being like Cartel Spacer, P-38, and 7th Fleet Defender, being nice space units you can play, nice cheap ones as well. And even P-38 being nice to go as Asajj with the damage. Then you got some nice events like No Gumi Dead as a way to lock down a leader, and Triple Dark Raid to kind of push more damage, getting out some space units, bring them out so you can attack with them, and then bounce them back so you can play them again next turn. Also, in the non-dark side, you've got some pretty nice stuff. Like you've got Independent Smuggler being a nice one you could either play or mainly play as a pilot on a vehicle unit to kind of upgrade it. Crafty Smuggler being a nice little ground unit you can play for turn 1. It comes in shielded. It's pretty nice there. That's pretty cool space units you can potentially attach Asajj to, like Outer Rim Headhunter, Strafing Gunship, and Geonosis Patrol Fighter. Geonosis being a nice one because it can bounce, it can play out cheaper by exploiting. Strafing Gunship breaking all the rules because usually you can only attack ground to ground or space to space, but it breaks it because on the card it's got the effect that it can attack ground units, and if it does attack a ground unit, that unit's attacking gets 2 less health, 2 less power, so it fights back a little bit less. And then you also got Outer Rim Headhunter as well, has a nice effect where if you control a leader unit, you can exhaust a non-leader unit when it attacks. And since you can deploy Asajj on either of these two, Outer Rim Headhunter or Strafing Gunship, you kind of make it so Outer Rim Headhunter Dead is a leader unit while Asajj is on it, so then it's always going to be tapping down something, and it gets a 3/4 boost, turning it into a 4/7. And then Raid 1 means it's going to swing for 5 and have a good amount of bulks. It could be a nice one to put Asajj on. And even Strafing Gunship allowing you to make it a 6/8 that can attack other space units or even the ground arena, whatever you want, and then basically make it a nice way to kind of swing through different kind of areas. And then also you've got some good events, like you've got McClunky being a nice way to reuse some of these units or bounce back an Underworld unit that you've damaged, so you can play it back with its all healthy again, and also spread out some damage as well, going well with Asajj. And you've even got events that allow you to swing for a bit more power in Surprise Strike, break it in, giving more power in the attack, and even break her in, giving the unit Saboteur so it can ignore Sentinel as well. So you feel like this kind of one allows you to have more flexibility in terms of like all the kind of tricks and traits you can use to make use of Asajj and all the different things, then Cunning could be a good one. Cunning does seem pretty nice with all that kind of aggression it can push down with things like Surprise Strike, and also making use of some niche spit vehicles with Asajj on them. Also remember that we've got Villainy cards that are just Villainy that you can even use with it. Like you've got the Indoctrinated Construct being a nice little pilot you can put in, that's just Villainy. You got some nice space units like TIE Dagger and the Shuttle here. TIE Dagger making use of Asajj effect, being able to ping damage, because you can then ping damage to something the next turn. From turn 2 onwards, play this out, and when played, you can deal 2 damage to a damaged unit, maybe finish them off. And then the Shuttle's a nice one where you can, when played or when it's defeated, you can take control of a token upgrade like shields and experience, and move into a different units that take shields off your opponents. You can damage them instead of the shield being popped, or take experience off the power up something of yours instead, and it comes in shielded itself. If you play a few of the Imperial cards, you can even use TIE Advance as a nice one that kind of, when played, boost up another friendly Imperial unit with 2 experience, which is pretty cool. Do remember there are cards that are just feeling it could be useful as well. Now for the last bit, we've got my preferred aspects. So something that was asked in my earlier series of this, back in like I think the second set, people used to ask what my preferred aspects were, like how I would play it. And I didn't have this before, but then I like to improve the series and kind of amend it with new things, like to kind of make it as best as possible. So I've decided to add these at the end to kind of go over what, if I were to play this leader, what would my preferred aspects be. And for Asajj, after looking into it a little bit, I feel like if my preferred aspect would be aggression, because I like the way like she can do damage and you can ping some good effects like no disintegrations, Roof's Raid and stuff like that, to kind of make use of the fact that she can do free damage, or like not free as in free, the number 3, but damage for free to things. But then if I wouldn't go play aggression or play it a different way, the other kind of aspect I would probably go for is cunning, because you've got some nice effects to kind of push, especially with vertical focus as well with yellow, the dark side yellow at least. And then also being able to swing with more power, being very aggressive with it as well. And I kind of like the look at that. But mainly aggression, but also cunning is another way to play. And that is the end of the video. So hopefully that's helped you understand how to build Asajj. So for set 4 Asajj, so you can go ahead, pick up the leader, and get the cards you want to kind of build it and play it, and kind of build it to suit you and your play style instead of just net decking a list. So hopefully that's helped you understand, and thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe to help out the channel and help me get to my goal of 2,000 subs. And for the rest of this week, I have more of the Vigilance leaders. So you'll see Thrawn, and then the other two being Lando and Rose. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.